Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Namrup Prabhu, can you unmute Maharaj and make him co-host? Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear us?
Okay, now it's on.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Please accept my obeisances. Thank you so much for giving your association.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Madhubhas Prabhu, you're there. You want to give the introduction? Quick.
You doing something?
Looks like Prabhu is busy. Okay. As well as Bhanu Swami Maharaj is or ISKCON GBC chairman. The almost 40 plus years on ISKCON. Translated so many books as well, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Murari Gupta Karcha, and many other wonderful books I myself read and got a lot of benefit. I'm still reading. It's a vast subject matter. Maharaj is spending so much valuable time translating these books. So I recommend you can get those books. It is available in most of the bookstalls. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Also on Amazon.
On Amazon, yes.
Okay, so the verse today is 217, is it?
You can speak on any verse, Maharaj. It's the Janmashtami topic, as far as I remember.
Oh, I see. I saw there was a Srinvatam Katha Krishna. I thought that was.
That was just
standard
in the flyer.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay. Maybe I can even give you a PowerPoint on this if you want, on Krishna or
Yes.
Balaram, either one.
Yes, go ahead, Maharaj.
Here it works, that people works. Krishna, where's Krishna? Okay, we got one here. Okay, so share Krishna. So, okay, so you can see Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, fine. Okay, as long as you can see. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhade. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shrindavadi Pastachadesha Charane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Vetikata Darshana Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So a few days ago we celebrated Balaram's appearance. Today Balaram is the brother of Krishna because he had the same father, that is Vasudeva. Mother was ultimately different because Balaram came out of Rohini. Krishna came from Devaki and also from Vasudeva. So Balaram appeared just before Krishna, even though he was actually almost a year older, but he stayed in the womb waiting for Krishna. In either case, we have Krishna as the son of Nanda and Krishna as the son of Vasudeva. And usually we think, okay, Krishna was the actual father was Vasudeva, and then foster father is Nanda Maharaj because Vasudeva took Krishna and took him to Nanda's place, and then took Nanda's daughter and took her back to the prison house like that. So I think that actually the actual father is Vasudeva. But actually, our acharyas explain that simultaneously, Krishna was born from both Yasoda and from Devaki, and then the two merged together when Vasudeva took the child over there. So anyway, that's one interesting story. The other is that they descended, Vasudeva and Nanda, they're very good friends, and they descended, I guess we say they're cousins of sorts, and they descended from Devamida, who had a Kshatriya wife, who gave birth to Sura, who gave birth to Vasudeva, and he had a Vaishya wife, Devamida, who gave birth to Parjana, who gave birth to Nanda Maharaj. So they're like, kind of like that, through the co-wives of Devamida, two children, like that. Though technically Parjanya was, because he came from a Vaishya wife, then he was kind of inferior, they considered. Actually, he was honored by Ugrasena and the Yadus, and they gave him this beautiful place, Raja, and he was honored a lot. And he had 5 sons, such as Upananda. So Parjanya, of course, means a cloud, and it's a cloud of showering joy. He gave joy to the world by giving 5 sons, starting with Upananda. So we have the 5 sons: Upananda, Abhinanda, Nanda, Sananda, and Nandana. And in this way, he brought this to everyone. And so we have Nanda Maharaj as one of those sons, and he was the middle son. In the 6 qualities of Supreme Lord, we have Aishvarya, Virya, Yasa, Shri, Jnana, and Vairagya. So smack in the middle, we have Yasa. So just as we have the 6 qualities of the Supreme Lord with Yasa in the middle, Nanda was the middle son of the group, and therefore he was considered to be most famous. And he became most attractive to everyone. And of course, there was no envy, in spite of the fact that he was getting all the attention or whatever. And of course, one reason why he was so popular was that he was dedicated to Krishna. He was a great devotee of Krishna, Supreme Lord. So, as we know, all wonderful qualities manifest in the devotee of the Lord. So, he was a devotee of the Lord, and therefore he manifested all wonderful qualities. Nanda is considered to be somewhat fat. He has a complexion of sandalwood. The color of his cloth is a Bando Jiva flower, which is like a bright red, crimson, almost red, orangey red. He was very tall and had a beard, kind of black and white, so he had gray hair, in other words. And he married Yasoda, and the father and mother, Sumukha and Patala, gave their daughter Yasoda to Nanda Maharaj. She also is endowed with all wonderful qualities. The word Yasoda, of course, means Yaso means fame, Da means to give fame. So because of her, the cowherds became very famous. She's described as having a dark complexion, and she's a personification of Vatsalya, or parental love. Her cloth is the rainbow color, which means variegated colors for cloth. So usually in describing the associates of the Lord, their complexion and their cloth is described. They have a particular cloth that their favorite color, so that they're identified by the color of their cloth and their complexion. So she had rainbow colored cloth. So Parjanya had these sons, and Upananda was the eldest, so technically he should be the ruler, and whatever land was given to him, it should go to him. But Upananda, accepting from his father, he met with others, and then he called his younger brother, or middle brother actually, Nanda, and then he gave everything of Gokul to Nanda Maharaj. So this way, Upananda didn't show any pride or anything, and he gave up his kingdom, which is rightfully his, in favor of Nanda, who was the most popular and was wonderful, was full of wonderful qualities. And we sometimes see conversations in the Bhagavatam between Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd people. So Upananda is often mentioned. So he was the chief counselor of Nanda Maharaj. And he is the one that advised them when the demons were attacking. Let's get out of here, and leave Mahavan and get on our carts and go somewhere else. So they moved from there, and then they moved to Vrindavan area. So Nanda Maharaj followed his advice because he was the younger brother, so to speak. So in this way, the area, Gokul, became very prosperous under the management of Nanda Maharaj and his brothers. But there was one misfortune. They were all very prosperous, but Nanda didn't have a son, and he was getting older. As we see the description, as he has black with white hair, so he's got gray hair. He's getting older. So, but he didn't have a son. He got married, and no son came. And then they had priests perform sacrifices. No results. Still no son. So Nanda Maharaj was somewhat disappointed. So, though they didn't have a son, they were always thinking of the Supreme Lord in great devotion. And therefore, by thinking of the Lord appeared.
What are your comments? See,
So
purchase.
I have a class now.
Oh, now you're in
Yeah,
class?
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
After.
Yeah. Okay.
What time you finish?
Hour. So in the evening, Vasudeva sent Rohini to Raja because he was afraid of Kamsa. So she rode on a horse and arrived secretly, but she was faithful to her husband. And everyone in Raja became very joyful when they saw her. So in just a month, she was pregnant for 3 months, and then that Meanwhile, Nanda and Yasoda were anxious for a child, and they did a vow, and then the Lord appeared to them in a dream, Vishnu, and he says, why are you lamenting? And then he said that this boy, blue like an atasi flower, which is a blue flower, he'll appear as your son. So, and then he predicted his wonderful appearance. So in Magh month, then the child was transferred from Nanda's heart to the womb of Yasoda. Well, actually to the heart of Yasoda. And then from there, actually, this is the girl child came into the womb at this time. So the Let me see. Okay, so the child came in, and there was also a maiden who came with the child that entered into her womb, and then the child entered her heart, and that was how she became impregnated. Oops. So Krishna shone very nicely in the womb of Vasudha. We have descriptions in the Bhagavatam of how when Krishna entered Devaki's womb, and then Devaki also began to glow. And even we see in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he entered the womb of Sachi Devi, then Sachi Devi became very effulgent also. So this way, Yasoda became very, very effulgent and illuminated the universe. So Rohini, of course, was there, and Balaram was actually in the womb of Devaki, but was transferred to Rohini's womb. And here it says 14th month, which means that there was a big delay for the birth of Balaram because he was waiting for Krishna, so he stayed in a long time. So there's a 14-month pregnancy, and then he appeared. So just slightly before Krishna, though technically it should be before, a year before, but he delayed birth. So of course Balaram is very similar to Krishna, very beautiful also, but his complexion is a little different. He is white, like an autumn cloud, but at the same time very effulgent. And of course he was very strong, and that's why he's called Balaram. Bala means strong. He's called Rama, which means an enjoyer. So though Balaram was born to Rohini, Yasoda was also very affectionate towards Balaram. And we see in the Bhagavatam that they grew up together, and Rohini and Yasoda treated them both as their sons. So Rohini treated Krishna and Balaram as her son, and Yasoda treated Balaram and Krishna as her son. So in this way, they both were very, very attracted to both children. And then a few days later, then there's another birth. That's the birth of Krishna. So the birth of Krishna is always emphasized the time. It's at a particular time in the Vaivasata Manvantara 28th cycle, just before Kali Yuga, and the end of Dwarpa Yuga, on the 8th waning moon, waning tithi of Bhadra month. So in this way, it was a Wednesday also, and the moon was in Rohini, which is auspicious because the moon is exalted at that stage, at that time. So this is the specific time of Krishna's birth. And apparently this will happen every day of Brahman will come at a specific time. That is 28th Yuga cycle of Vaivasata Manvantara, end of Kali Yuga. He will appear in a very similar way at a similar time. So it appears once a day. Hare Krishna.
बस क्लास चल रहा है अभी पता है.
So, in this way, the birth of Krishna brought great auspiciousness. So generally, different seasons have certain auspicious things, but when Krishna was born, all the auspicious things of the different seasons began to manifest. So the jasmine blossoms of spring began to blossom, even though it was monsoon season. And the mango appeared. Actually appears in summer, but again, it appeared in the monsoon season. And the waters are very clear, but usually in monsoon season they're muddy, but suddenly they became clear as in the autumn season or Sharad season. And the kunda flower, which is another type of jasmine, it grows in the cold season, but it began to blossom. Lotuses blossom in the day, not at night, but this is the middle of the night at when Krishna appeared. So the lotuses began to blossom in the middle of the night, in spite of the fact that they don't usually do that. And when Krishna was born, then all of the planets attained auspicious configurations. So in this way, we have a very auspicious appearance of Krishna. Of course, Krishna is beyond all time and place and whatever. So whatever time he is born at, it doesn't really matter, and the planets cannot affect him. But generally, he appears, and at that time, all the planets are also in auspicious configurations. So in this way, all of the auspicious flowers of the different seasons began to blossom suddenly in the middle of the night. So the summer flowers, winter flowers, spring flowers, etc., began to blossom, and the lotuses began to blossom. So this all indicates great auspiciousness, and all these auspicious things appeared at one time. So this was the appearance of Krishna. And as I mentioned, there's a comparison that his complexion is like the atasi flower, which is actually a flax flower, which is bluish. Or sometimes his complexion is compared to the blue lotus. Very, very famous comparison. And his face is compared to a lotus, a blue lotus also. His eyes are compared to lotus petals. And his eyebrows are like bees, little bees, a string of bees, because they're black. His nose is like a sesame flower. And it's also bluish. His lips were like the hibiscus flower, which is the, what they call that? Anyway, hibiscus. Java flower. Okay. His ears were black like the Shama creeper. His forearms were like the branches of the tumult tree. Tumult arms were also blackish. His chest was marked with Srivatsam, which is a special auspicious white curl of hair. And there's a line of Lakshmi, a golden line of Lakshmi, engraved on his chest also. So when Krishna was born, there was another birth from Yasoda, and that is Yogamaya, and as his younger sister. So Krishna was born first, and then his sister came out second. This is from Yasoda. But simultaneously, Krishna was born from Devaki. So in this way, Vasudeva and Devaki and Yasoda and Nanda they were both parents of Krishna, because Krishna appeared for both of them. So we see that Krishna had a four-arm form with Vasudeva and Devaki. And this also indicates something. Vasudeva and Devaki lived in Mathura, later in Dwarka, so they were always aware of the Supreme Lord their son was Supreme Lord. But with Yasoda and Nanda, he appeared in a two-arm form to indicate that Yasoda and Nanda didn't have any Aishwarya mixed with their Vatsalya. So they just saw Krishna as their son. But then, of course, the four-arm form Krishna merged into or changed into a two-arm form of Krishna also. Right? So though the two children were born from Yasoda, Yasoda fainted, influenced by Yoga Maya. So she wasn't aware that two children were born. So Yoga Maya was there and was sleeping. And then Vasudeva took his son in a two-arm form to Nanda's house. And then he saw the Yoga Maya child waiting, sitting there. He didn't see the other child. And then he just put the child down and took the female child away. So Krishna, of course, as I said, was very, very beautiful. Another comparison of the Krishna is it's a blue lotus or atasi flower. Another is sapphire. So sapphire is a blue jewel. So his complexion is like a sapphire. Very, very attractive. And his face is compared to the moon, which is most attractive and effulgence. His eyes are like lotuses. Hands were like leaves on a desire tree. So when Yasoda saw that child, she was very, very attracted to him, and she became stunned. This is one of the Sattvika bhavas. She couldn't even move because she was so attracted to the beauty of that child that was born. So when the child was born, of course, then it was actually midnight, so no one really knew anything until the morning time. And then the people spread the news, an old woman especially spread the news that the Nanda had given birth to a son through Yasoda. So all the cowherds got excited because Nanda was waiting for his son for so long. Nanda was very excited. And he was very joyful. So he approached the house in spite of the fact that he was having all sorts of ecstatic symptoms. And they all gathered around, just like the many streams enter into the Ganga, all the people gathered at Nanda's house. And many women came bearing auspicious items. So the Brahmins also came and they chanted nice mantras for auspiciousness, as is customary. And they touched the head of the child with auspicious items like durba grass. And Nanda was very happy with the Brahmins. So at that time, Rohini brought out the child so that Nanda could see the child. And when Nanda saw the child, that he was like a blue lotus or whatever, he was struck by the beauty of that child. Here's another image. It was like a chintamani, which is blue, a blue chintamani, not a sapphire, but a blue chintamani. Which the chintamani is famous because it fulfills all desires. So it's maybe superior to a sapphire because it's blue like a sapphire, but it fulfills all your desires. Anything you want, you can get from it. So Krishna is like that. You can get everything from Krishna to fulfill all your desires. His hair was the color of Saivala plants, which are plants which grow in the water. They're kind of dark color with wavy patterns on them. and his eyes were again like petals of a blue lotus, held in the hand of Lakshmi. His hands, feet, and lips, the feet of the buds growing on the desired tree of Vaikuntha. The child was attracted with cloth, the hue of haritala or saffron, which is haritala is a very bright yellow color. So he wore yellow cloth also, which is typical of Krishna. So they performed the Jat Karma. The Jat Karma is one samskar, the first samskar of a child after being born. Before the birth, there's samskars like the Govardhan samskar and the Kumsavana samskar, and parting of the hair samskar. Those are before the birth. Right after the birth, there's a Jat Karma samskar. So the Brahmins performed the Jat Karma. And they chanted mantras, and they put a little ghee on the child's tongue. Which ghee, of course, is for nourishment, so they put a little ghee on the child's tongue. And they gave blessings to the child for long life. Okay, so they blessed the earth with, or consecrated the earth with mantras also, and they put the child on a bed using mantras. They purified the mother with mantras. They sprinkled water on the breasts of the mother so that she would have good milk. And they put the child on his back, and they put a water pot there near his head. So Nanda Maharaj is very joyful, and he celebrated the occasion by giving charity. This is described also in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he gave 10,000 cows, 100,000 cows, 1,000,000 cows, 2,000,000 cows with gold-plated horns. So he kept giving and giving. So cows is one thing. You could give sesame is another. You can give. So he gave a huge amount of sesame. And we see not only this time, but other times also when they have festivals, they start throwing milk and yogurt everywhere. So the people were sprinkling each other with milk and yogurt. So Nanda Maharaj gave so much charity that he defeated desired trees and Chintamani stones, which also give things. But Nanda Maharaj would give it so profusely that no one could describe how much he was giving. So Nanda Maharaj was just simply thinking, may Narayan bless my child. Of course, Krishna is the Supreme Lord and is actually superior to Narayan, so he doesn't need any blessings. But Nanda and Yasoda treat Krishna not as Supreme Lord, but as their child. So they ask Supreme Lord for blessings for their child. So though Raja was very wealthy, it began to increase because of Krishna. Because wherever Krishna is, everything, all wealth, opulence, everything follows. Lakshmi follows, everything follows. And of course, along with that, then the residents of Raja also gave birth to many wonderful children. So, as I mentioned, Nanda was full of all wonderful qualities. That's why his older brother made him the ruler. And that was shown by his the way he was giving charity to everyone. He had unlimited wealth, unlimited charity, and he made unlimited arrangements for festivals like this. He had unlimited number of servants, and he gave unlimited protection to the people. So the two children were born very close together, 1 week apart, actually. They were also very affectionate to each other. Oh, that's all. That's as far as I got on that. Okay. So anyway, that's the birth of Krishna. After this, of course, Krishna has many stories of Krishna as he grew up. So Krishna has various ages. From his birth up until 5 years old is his Komara period or Balya period. And from 5 years old up until 8 years old is his Poganda period. And from that period after that, up until, well, forever, is his Kashor period, because he doesn't go beyond that. So these are the 3 periods of Krishna. So the first period, the Kaumara period or the Balya period, is from his birth up to 5 years old, is ideal for Vatsalya Rasa. So we'll find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first chapters up until the soul, all that period is Krishna's Kaumara period. So we have lots of stories there involving Yasoda and to some extent Nanda, because Vatsalya Rasa is very prominent at that time. So that's natural, because when the child is small, the mother has to take very great care of the child. So Mother Yasoda is dressing Krishna, feeding Krishna, protecting Krishna, etc. And she's always worried about Krishna's safety. So in the first 5 years, a lot of attention is given to the child. So similarly, Mother Yasoda showed great attention to Krishna during this period. So very, very intense. We have the various rasas, and though they're all wonderful with Krishna, nevertheless, when we look objectively or neutrally, then we see that though Dasya is better than Shanta, Sakya is stronger than that, because there's more familiarity. And better than that is Vatsalya, because of the closeness of that affection. There's a deeper affection there for Krishna, so which we call Sneha. So that affection is much stronger in Vatsalya Rasa. So therefore, in the first 8 chapters, or 14 chapters of Bhagavatam, 10th canto, then Yasoda is glorified as the best devotee because she's almost topmost. Of course, beyond that are the gopis, Radharani, but next to that, then we have Yasoda. So she is very, very strong Vatsalya Rasa for Krishna. So that is evoked by the young Krishna from his birth all the way up through his 5th year especially. It does not stop after that, but this is the ideal age. After that, she still has the same love, but it's a little different because Krishna gets bigger and bigger. We see when Krishna went to Kurukshetra and the people of Raja, Nanda, Yasoda, the gopis, others came there. And then Nanda and Yasoda were there. And of course, Krishna was grown up, Balaram was grown up. But they put Krishna and Balaram on their laps like small children, which made it look a little strange to us, but this was their emotions were so strong that they saw nothing unusual in doing that. So, and milk flowed from Mother Yasoda's breast, even though Krishna was grown up. So even though Krishna is older, still they see Krishna in the same way, almost as if he's a small child of 4 or 5 years old. But when he actually is that, only 4 or 5 years old, of course, then we'll see there's a special attraction for that, as we see in the initial chapters of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna is born, and then he begins to grow up in this way. So this is a very auspicious occasion. As we see, when Krishna appeared, then everything became auspicious. The flowers and the rivers and earth and the stars, even the moon became auspicious. And even though it was a waning moon, getting smaller and smaller, Anastami Titi, suddenly it became full out of joy. So everything was auspicious at the appearance of Krishna upon the earth planet. Now, this does not happen in the spiritual world because there is no birth of Krishna. So this is a special feature when Krishna appears on earth, that he actually has a birth. So we get this opportunity as people on earth to celebrate Krishna's birthday, Jamashtami, just as the people of Vrindavan and Nanda celebrated when Krishna was born. So this is a very special occasion for us, and we can use this as an opportunity to remember Krishna. All our activities are meant for remembering Krishna, so celebrating Jamashtami also is a way in which we can remember Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we can engage different things in service of Krishna. So, of course, we can engage family in Krishna by making them Krishna conscious, and we purify them with samskars, etc., like that marriage samskar, jat karma, upanayana, etc. We can engage our senses in various ways. We can engage our work by offering the results to Krishna. And at different stages of life, Astavana, Prasad, Sannyas, we can also dedicate all of those ages to Krishna. So in this way, we can dedicate so much to Krishna. So another thing we can dedicate to Krishna is time. How do we engage time? So we celebrate the appearance days of the Lord. Every year we can celebrate Jamashtami and Gaur Purnima, Ram Navami, etc., Balaram's appearance day. So we can dovetail time in the service of Krishna by celebrating the appearance days of the Supreme Lord, in spite of the fact that in the material world time is destructive and part of Maya and karma. And nevertheless, the devotees can use time to glorify the Lord. So this is one way, by celebrating the appearance days of the Lord, then that time becomes very auspicious rather than simply a passage towards death. It becomes most auspicious. So we can always celebrate these appearance days of the Lord, like Jamashtami, remember the glories of Krishna. Okay, any question there?
Dear devotees, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for wonderful narration of personal characteristics of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. I think in general, devotees may have some questions on the Supreme Lord, Radha Shyam Sundar, not stepping out of Padam Ekam Nagachanti of Vrindavan. We can elaborate on that, and also when he's killing the demons generally, so what exactly is happening? So if we can elaborate on those two, I think.
What was that? What was the part?
One is the killing the demons, and the another one is when Shastra says Padam Ekam Nagachanti, Lord didn't step out.
Oh, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Well, of course, in the spiritual world, Krishna never leaves in one sense, because he's always there. And when he comes on earth, then there's a special pastime where he leaves and goes to Mathura, then he goes to Dwarka, doesn't come back for a long time. So that is an appearance. But our acharyas also say that this is not possible because how could the people of Vraja tolerate this long separation from Krishna? So then Vishnu Chakravarti says, actually, Krishna went back. He did go away, but he came back after 3 months. So technically, he came back, but the separation also continued. So in other words, there were two forms of Vrajavasis, those in separation who continued in separation, and they went to Kurukshetra later on. And then there's another form where all the Brajabasis are with Krishna because he came back after 3 months of staying in Mathura. Because he made a promise to everyone, I'll come back. He made a promise to the gopis, I'll soon come back. So therefore, he actually came back. So therefore, he wasn't separated for too long. Of course, we say there is separation, but then the other point is that this is all for pastimes. And technically, though, Krishna is separated, simultaneously is not separated because Krishna can appear internally within everyone. And that's how they tolerate the situation of separation, because Krishna appears within them. But as far as pastimes, he technically goes and they think, oh, Krishna's gone. But and then he comes back. But then there is the form of Krishna where he stays away for a long period of time. Did he come back at all? Saracharyas also say, yes, he did come back after some time, after he killed Dantavakra. He killed Dantavakra at the gate of Mathura, which was at that time abandoned because everyone was living at Dwarka. But Dantavakra course, form, but he came back in that other form as well from Dwarka and united with the people of Vrindavan. So that's another way in which he came back. Now, of course, the Krishna in pacifying the gopis, he wrote a letter which was sent through Uddhava, and later on, he also spoke to the gopis in Kurukshetra. The essence of his consolation, though it appears that it's all more like jnana and yoga that he's talking about, there's a secret message in there, which our acharyas explain. And that is, what he's telling the gopis is actually, if you're feeling separation from me on the earthly pastimes, then you switch your identity to the eternal pastimes in the spiritual world, because I'm always with you there and I never leave. So in other words, you identify yourself with that other form in the spiritual world. So in other words, everybody has double Krishnas here and Krishna's in the spiritual world. The gopis are here. The gopis are in the spiritual world. Nanda and Yashoda are here. They're also in the spiritual world. So if you're feeling that separation, then you simply transfer your identity to that other form of the spiritual world, and I'll be there. So that's another way in which Krishna is with the devotees in Vrindavan. As for killing demons, of course, that's one of Krishna's reasons why he came, at least to the Devatas. But that's also an external reason. The Devatas prayed, Kamsa's afflicting, please do something. And they went to the milk ocean and prayed, and the Lord said, I will come. So then Krishna manifests himself to kill demons. So that's one reason for the Lord coming, but it's actually an external reason. Just as with Lord Chaitanya, you have so many reasons for him to come, but external reasons. But then Lord Chaitanya has internal reason, which is to experience the bhava of Radharani. So Krishna has his internal reasons also for coming to this world, and that is to fulfill the desire of his devotees who are longing for his association, so he can have pastimes with those devotees. So that's his real reason. So the killing of the demons is a little bit secondary for him. Nevertheless, he can do that without any effort, just as Vishnu can create universes without effort, simply by glancing. So Krishna can kill demons also without any effort. And these demons, of course, represent all sorts of different anarthas and sinful activities. These are kind of listed by Bhaktivinoda. So when Krishna kills the demons, he is, one sense, combating the different anarthas that arise for the jiva. So Bhaktivinoda advises you to meditate on the pastime, a specific pastime of Krishna killing a demon as a way of explaining how to overcome your anarthas by the mercy of Krishna. So in any case, Krishna kills the demons because they are a burden to the earth, and that's one of the reasons why he came. But he does it in Vrindavan in a very different way, often hidden. For instance, when Krishna was just born, then Putana came. So Krishna killed her, but nobody could really detect how he did it because he actually sucked out her life air. But it looked like he was sucking her breast milk, but then she died. So Krishna can kill the demons there, but he doesn't display his powers. So it looks like Krishna's doing something else. Just as Krishna kicked up his little foot, and suddenly the cart fell over and the Sakata demon died. So when people thought, suddenly the cart fell over and there's danger to Krishna. But actually Krishna kicked the cart and killed the demon. Often hides that because that will interrupt the intimate mood of Vrindavan, and he doesn't want to show himself as supreme lord to the people there. So he kills the demons as part of his function of protecting devotees, etc. And because David is great for that. But he also incorporates that into his pastimes. So in killing the demons, the devotees of Vrindavan develop more attraction for Krishna. Their love increases, not because Krishna is protecting them from demons or whatever, but simply because their anxiety for Krishna is in danger. Therefore, we should give him protection and love. So the killing of demons has a function of also increasing the love of the people of Vrindavan. And though they see Krishna kill demons sometimes, like Keshi and Agasura or whatever, they always take that as not Krishna's power, but Vishnu acting through Krishna. So actually, Vishnu is killing the demon, not Krishna, because Krishna is just a small boy. How he can do anything? How he can look over it on hill? Can't do that. So it's because of the help of Vishnu and others that Krishna can do these remarkable feats. So though Krishna does all this and kills demons, the people of Vrindavan cover that up by thinking of Krishna as not capable of doing that, because that will interfere with their intimacy with Krishna. So in this way, Krishna does kill the demons there. Later on, of course, we see he kills demons outside of Vrindavan in a more spectacular, obvious way, fighting with them, etc., in great battles, etc. So that is because the people of Mathura and Dwarka, they accept Krishna with power and they relish that. So therefore, Krishna shows great heroism in battle, etc., and his powers as Supreme Lord. So this increases their Aishvarya Dasya mode.
Thank you, Maharaj, for bringing the third dimension of anxiety and love. Also, the spiritual world, Lord is manifesting this spiritual world, the other way of looking at it, the separation. Satish Prabhu, go ahead. You can ask.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, two quick questions. Why we need to celebrate Janmashtami at a lodge, at a temple? And the second is, once the crowd comes, so how we can make them devotees? Like how can make them repeat again to visit temple, and they like develop interest knowing about Krishna and all. Can you suggest some tips, Maharaj, on these two?
Oh, first one is what? Why they should come? Why you should celebrate in the temple?
Yeah, why we celebrate? Often questions ask like why we need to spend so much and celebrate. Whenever other outside people ask the question, what is the best answer we can give?
Oh, okay. Well, people ask, of course, for Indians to ask that question is a little stupid because why do they spend so much money on weddings? Much more money on wedding, yeah? They'll spend crores of rupees on a wedding of their daughter, which is a material thing, and they'll spend crores of rupees on that, and maybe they go for 5 days celebrations or something. Here we're on a one-night celebration. We spend a little bit of money on that. So that's not a very good question for, at least for Indians to ask, especially if they spend a lot of money on their weddings. Of course, one can celebrate in one's house. There's nothing wrong with that. And one can do it very simply. There's nothing wrong with that also. Because Krishna is, he says, leaf or flower or water or tulsi leaf or whatever that will satisfy me if there's devotion. So yes, we can celebrate very simply with great devotion. At the same time, if we do have facilities and you are like a millionaire, you shouldn't just offer one leaf and a little bit of water. If you're a millionaire, then you should try to do more for Krishna and use your money for Krishna also. So Jiva Goswami also mentions that in relation to Diksha. Diksha is for deity worship, he says, because you get the mantra by which you can worship the deity. Yeah? So the Diksha gives you the Krishna mantra, the Gaur mantra by which we can worship the deity, mantra itself. Then he says, this is Diksha is for wealthy householders. Because then the wealthy householder can spend his money on Krishna. So it's a good opportunity for people who have money to spend it on a good cause. Instead of spending on charity or something else, or spending it selfishly for themselves or the family, let them spend it on glorifying Krishna. And that way they get spiritual benefit. So that's also good, that we can engage people in serving Krishna because they have to spend their money somehow. Let them put it to this cause. So that's another reason why we can have a celebration. So if we celebrate, yes, it doesn't matter. We can celebrate very simply or more elaborately, spend more money. But it does give an opportunity for people to engage in service and in various ways, if not by money, then by service or by donation of flowers or whatever they have. They can donate it. So it gives people an opportunity to serve the Lord. Now, some people may not serve the Lord all the time, as devotees we're serving every day. But some people, maybe once a year they'll come, or once every few months they come to the temple or whatever. So these festivals give them a little chance to carry out that sort of service, you know. In fact, probably some people only come to temple on Janmashtami. They don't know about Gauranga, they know about Krishna. Oh, Krishna, okay, let's go to the temple. So that's their only spiritual activity the whole year, maybe. So at least we can encourage them for that. And when they do come, then we can also encourage them to get a little more interested. And it's not just a tradition carried down in family or an opportunity for amusement or whatever. But we can maybe attract them more to spiritual life by this type of activity. Now, according to the qualification of the person, then we have to engage them properly. Because they're coming to the temple, they have a little faith at least. They must have some faith. So therefore, we can preach to them to some degree. But even preaching, of course, we can't preach to the faithless. We can preach to people, but we can only preach to people to a certain degree. Some people we can preach a little, they're less qualified. Some people are more qualified, we can preach more. Some people are more committed, we can preach more. So the devotee has to be intelligent to judge the level of that particular person, so he can preach in the proper way to encourage them. Because if you preach to a high level to a person who's on a lower level, they will not be able to accept that. They may get discouraged. You have to preach according to the level of the person. So for some people, their faith is very initial, their interest is not so strong. So we may have to use all sorts of means just to get them to come more often to the temple. Maybe encourage them to take more prasadam. I don't know. Maybe they are interested in cultural events, so maybe they can come and hear the music or see some Bharatanatyam dance or something, or So various ways we can encourage people, and then those are more interested, then we can interest them in philosophy. Some people want to get spiritual relief because they're too over stressed in their work. So then we can attract them to, meditation techniques, kirtan and whatever like that. So various things we can do for different types of people. We can attract some people to courses like Bhagavad Gita courses.
Yes.
Like the more philosophical people. So various things to attract different types of people.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your wonderful suggestions.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
And of course, because now we do have, it was always there, but we never used it, Zoom and everything like that. So people cannot come to the temple. We can find ways of reaching more people out in their houses, even. But we can have classes in their house, so they don't have to travel or whatever like that. So we have plenty of opportunity to start preaching to individuals, in their own house, even through Zoom, whatever. So, and there's plenty of opportunities for us to preach in various ways. But of course, again, we have to preach on different levels. So when we have classes for one group of people, very, very elementary, just, very spiritual interest, that you're not the body, you're the soul, maybe that. And just to get that point across is for the elementary people. And another is a higher level, of course, we introduce the idea of God as a person, and we develop devotion to the person. So that's another level. And then another level, of course, is all the right levels of preaching we can give to different types of people according to the level.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
We don't have any more questions.
Okay. Haribo. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Vanchakalpadrubhyasya Pasindhubhya Pattanam Pavanebhyo Vishnubhyo Namo Namaha. Ashtam ki jai.
Haribo.
Maharaj ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So, quick announcement. Today evening, we are celebrating. Today afternoon, we are celebrating Oak Tree Road Radha Yatra, Lord Jagannath Radha Yatra from 1 o'clock. So, try to reach before 1 o'clock, before the roads close. From Center Road near Apna Bazaar, it starts and around Sona Jewelers or so. And Prasadam will be served at 95 Fiat Avenue, Islin, around 4 o'clock or so. So please join and help in various services, the Prasadam distribution throughout the parade, and distributing the flyers of Janmashtami and temple cards and books. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.